One of my greatest tools when it comes to classroom management or disciplining kids is simply to smile. Hello everybody, Mr. Brown, Proclaim Ministry to help you connect faith and life. I've been working with kids for over 30 years, and I've learned a lot about classroom management or disciplining kids. And a lot of it came from my grandparents because my grandparents were strict. My grandmother did all the stuff in the church when it comes to youth, whether kids ministry, Sunday school, youth. I lived with her. My grandfather too. They taught us a lot of discipline. And so I kind of followed in their footsteps when it comes to discipline or maintaining classroom management, so to speak. So I have a whole series called The Smile Technique, and that's what I mean by smile. Not sitting there smile looking goofy like this. But really, it's called the SMILE Technique, and it is an acronym. And I have a whole series on it. You can find that series at proclaimministry.com/training or download our app at proclaimministry.com/app or on the App Store and look up the training tab, and you'll see a bunch of training for youth, for kids, but the SMILE Technique is one of them. And I'm just gonna make this short little video, explain the SMILE Technique, but please watch the whole training because it gives you a lot more detail. Now, I'll give you a warning about the training. It's an older training. I think the content's still good, but I look a lot different, and yeah, don't judge me on that because we all used to look different. Anyway, let me get into the SMILE Technique. The SMILE stands for, S stands for set boundaries, the M stands for maintain boundaries, the I stands for invest, the L, learn, and the E, enjoy. So it is set boundaries, maintain boundaries, invest, learn, and enjoy. I'm gonna break that down to overview real quick, but please check out the whole training. S, set the boundaries. I think it's so important to set boundaries, and I believe this. Kids, they need and desire boundaries. It helps everyone feel safe. For an example, when people get on roller coasters, right? I never got on one. I did once, and I won't do it again. But when they get on roller coasters, they sit down, and the attendant takes the thing, goes click, 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 and straps them in, right? What's the first thing they do? They push. They push against the barrier not to get out, to make sure it's secure. In the same way, kids, people need boundaries, helps them feel safe. So as a leader in a classroom setting, you need to set the boundaries. What are the expectations in the classroom? What are the rules in the classroom? And those rules are for everyone, not just the kids who disobey the rules, but the little girl who's always doing what she's supposed to do, because it helps her feel safe to know that there's some boundaries and there's an authority in the room. The person who set the boundaries is the authority in the room, and they're gonna make sure those things take place. And so set the boundaries are so important. What are your expectations? What are your rules? And you gotta set them often, early, and often. Again, set them early and often. So S stands for set the boundaries. You have to be the thermostat in the room, not the thermometer. If you're the leader in the room, set the thermostat and don't be the thermometer. So you have to start by setting the boundaries. The M, maintain those boundaries. It's so important you stay on top of it. I mentioned earlier, explain those boundaries early and repeat them often. I've been working with my new church for like a couple months now, and when I open up, I always go over the rules. Why? There may be new kids in the room, there may be kids who haven't been there a couple weeks, and they all need to be on the same page. And recently, I had to really go deeper in those boundaries because I could tell some of these kids had their own agenda. They came to do what they wanted to do. I have to let them know, listen, here are 4 rules, and if you disobey those rules, I have to move you over here, and maybe I have to, do whatever. Gave them updates or gave them expectations, and I maintain those boundaries. Sometimes I feel like, man, do I have to do it again, do it again, do it again? The answer is yes, because you want to make sure every time you get in front of those kids, they understand the boundaries, what the expectations are, so they can meet those expectations. So M, maintain those boundaries. I, invest. Invest in getting to know who they are. Invest in letting them know who you are. Find ways to make investments in them. Therefore, it's easier to make a withdrawal. When you got to call them out on something, there's a relationship. I remember working with public school. I've been there for several years. I go once a month. I walked into the cafeteria. One of the aides were trying to get this kid to give a Sharpie to her. He wasn't supposed to have a Sharpie, and he wouldn't give it to her. And I walked in, what's going on? She said, he won't give me the Sharpie. I said, come on, give me the Sharpie. He gave it right to me. Why? I made an investment in that kid. He knew who I was. He knew my boundaries. He knew my rules, and he respected them. And I think it's so important to make sure that you maintain those boundaries we talked about before, but make an investment. That's not always just talking about the rules. Hey, get to know who they are. Ask them questions. Tell them about your life. Tell them who you are. Share some things with them so they can know you're a real person and not just the teacher up front who always yelling at them, right? Find a way to invest in these kids. I made a video earlier where I was wearing this little bracelet I got from a kid. kid. That means a lot to that kid. He made me a little bracelet. I'm wearing a bracelet for a couple days, right? I'm making an investment. Might even take a picture of me wearing a bracelet and send it to him and say, thanks for the bracelet, right? Because I want to make sure that these kids know I'm not just a talking head, I'm a real person, and they're real people too. So I have to figure out ways to make those investments. Get to know who they are. The L stands for learn, and investment and learning are kind of the same things, but investment sometimes means them knowing you, but learning means you learn who they are. Who are they? Get into their world. Find out what makes them tick. And sometimes you do that more than other times, but one of my favorite questions to ask kids is this. Hey, tell me about your family. Who do you live with? Your mom, uncle, brothers, cat, grandparents, dog, monkey, gerbil? You got a goat? One kid did have a goat, right? I say those things to kind of joke around with them, but they start telling me who lives with them. And as they're talking, sometimes I interrupt and ask them more questions for details. So one kid said, I got chickens. You got chickens? They live in your house? And they laugh. No, they live outside, right? They start telling me about their lives. That is me learning who they are. But in that same instance of my asking questions, I'm also making an investment to let them know they matter to me, that they really matter. I'm making a connection with them to let them know I see you and I hear you. And by doing that, I've made them investment, so when it's time to call on them to be quiet or do something I want them to do, they're more apt to do it because they see me as a person and they know that I care about them. So take time to learn who these kids are you're working with, and that can expand to adults, teenagers, whoever. Take time to learn who they are because that's making an investment at the same time. And lastly, enjoy. Enjoy working with kids. Listen to me. If you don't enjoy working with kids, stop working with kids. They know it, you know it, everybody know it. Stop working with kids in that sense. Maybe you can do something behind the scenes. Maybe you can do some accounting. Maybe you can hand out the snacks. I don't know. But if you don't like working with kids, don't have the patience for it, don't work with kids. Find another way to serve, because I believe that everybody's got their gift. As a matter of fact, last week we're doing some arts and crafts with all kind of stuff. That ain't my gift. Doing arts and crafts, especially when it comes to glitter, that is not my gift. I know my gifting, right? So maybe you can do some of that where you're handing out materials, doing that kind of stuff. But if you don't like working with kids, sitting down with them, and I don't mind getting dirty with arts and crafts, stuff like that, that's part of the job, but I have my skill set and you may have yours. But if you don't enjoy working with kids, don't work with kids. And if you do enjoy it, enjoy it. It's not always about getting the job done, so to speak. We do a lot of memory verses, right? We do a lot of Bible lessons. It's not about just getting information to them. It's about enjoying it because they will see you enjoy it. So enjoy them, enjoy what you do, and it will go a long way when it comes to classroom management or classroom discipline. That's the SMILE technique and overview. Go ahead, check out the whole series at proclaimministry.com/training or download our app once again at proclaimministry.com/app or download it at whatever app store you have. And hopefully this content is helpful for you to live for God by connecting faith and life. Peace!